I know you had a lot of inspiration from school, and it had a long-term effect on you. Can you think back and tell us a little bit about one of your favorite teachers?
I certainly can. My very favorite teacher was Miss Stella Meadows, who taught me in the fourth grade and also the sixth grade at New Grant Park School. She was she was just unbelievable. She taught me the love of reading and the love to learn. She loved history, and she passed that love of history on down to me and other students. I'll never forget Miss Meadows. She was just an extremely wonderful woman.
Well, that's great. I know the grandkids have enjoyed hearing about Ms. Meadows, too, over the years. I know you've written a lot of stories, and many of them well, all of them are absolutely great, but I know you've selected one here that you'd like to read for us, and if you want to do that at this time, it'd be good.
Thank you very much. And this is one that generally I always call my great-grandchildren my great ones, and they agree, they love this. I call it The Beautiful Isle of Nowhere, a fantastic fantasy. It's nighttime and everyone is in bed. Austin wakes up and starts night dreaming. He would have started daydreaming, but you cannot daydream at night. Austin wondered about all his cousins, those he knew and those he had never met. Boy, it would be great if we could get together and play and talk about our great one, because he is the great one to all these cousins. He always talks about how special we are, and I'd like to see if all the others are as special as I am. The more Austin pondered this, the more excited he became. Finally, the idea hit him right in the head. I will call the fairies and ask them to assist me, and that's what he did. Austin was amazed when he finds himself on this raft in the middle of a body of water. Now, you know water doesn't really have a body, but that's what the great writers say. There was this body of water. So Austin finds himself on this body of water on a raft, and bingo, here are his other cousins, all boys for exploring purposes. Here are Cameron, Chandler, Cody, Shane, and Zachary, and they are some more excited themselves. How did we get here? Where are we going? How are we going to get back home? The usual questions young fellows ask when they don't have the answer at hand. The young men introduce themselves to each other. They are delighted to find they are all great ones of the great one. Well, says Austin, because after all he is the oldest, let's shove off and see what we can see. A wind came up and blew the raft right out into no place. The guys were scared, but they were not going to let the others know, so they kept a weak smile on their face. After a time, the raft came ashore, and the fellows got off. They were sure glad to be on dry land, but where were they? A male, but not a full-grown man, appeared and said, "Welcome to the kingdom of Smileland, ha-ha. King Gimme More and Queen You Had Enough are happy to have you here as their guest, ha-ha. You have landed on the Isle of Nowhere, and Smileland is the capital of this idyllic place, ha-ha." It seems that every time the gentleman spoke, he said, "ha-ha." Austin found out the truth of this when the male told them, "I am Sir Laugh-A-Lot, ha-ha. I am the king's left-hand aide. He wanted a right-hand aide, ha-ha, but I'm left-handed, so he got a left-hand aide, ha-ha." Sir Laugh-A-Lot told them that on this isle, the temperature is always 75 degrees. The sun has a built-in sunscreen, so no reason to smear goo on you. You will not get a sunburn here. The rain we know you will enjoy because it always rains lollipops and marshmallows. The rain always tastes like your favorite drink. Just think of your favorite when you want a drink, and that's what you'll get. King Gilmore says, make yourself at home. Don't worry about making a mess, because messes clean themselves up as soon as you make it. The trees are loaded with whatever you want to eat, and the food is already prepared for you. Your clothes will stay clean, as the rain has a cleansing doodad in it. Guess that's it, so I'll see you later, ha ha. After a day of this, Austin told the other guys, you know, we should have our sisters here with us. Wonder how we can do it. If I just had a cell phone, I could hold it up to my ear like this and say, Joy Lynn? What do you know, the voice says. Austin, this is Joy Lynn. Where are you at this time of night? Joy Lynn, says Austin, me and Chandler, Shane, and our other cousins are on the most wonderful island in the world. We want you to get your sisters and all your cousins that are the great ones, and come here. But how do we get there, asked Joy Lynn. Just get up, get Emily and Abby up, and go outside the house. Brooklyn, Brianna, Cheyenne, Allie, Courtney, Amber, and Shelby will come to meet you. Brooklyn? You know she can't even walk yet, don't you? Yes, but she'll walk tonight, and she'll meet you. Go to the body of water, and the other girls will be there waiting for you at the raft. Get on the raft, and it will bring you here where we are. Joy Lynn, being the brightest of the bright, did as Austin suggested, and soon here comes the raft loaded with the girls, all great ones of the great one. Austin and the other boys described to Joy Lynn and the other girls what wonders are to be found in this place, and after everybody had been introduced to each other, they just had an absolute ball. As always, perfect times have to end on this earth. The time has come to go back home, and those old enough to prepare for reopening a school. How do we get back, wondered Austin. No problem. They just all held hands together and said, great one. And just like that, they were each back at home and in their own bed with sweet dreams of lollipops and marshmallows in their heads. Now, this would be a good place to stop this dream, except a beautiful isle of nowhere needs a little music to exit on. So sing it in your own voice, but let's put it on a page by itself, just in case you want to copy it and share it with all your friends. Ah, beautiful isle of nowhere, the song. Nowhere the sun is shining, nowhere across that sea. Nowhere my heart is pining, nowhere is where I want to be. Oh, beautiful isle of nowhere, forever I want to stay. You wonderful isle of nowhere, there's no better place to play. I wonder at times how I got here, a place I never want to leave. All that I want is always near, must be close to heaven, I believe. And then, of course, we have a chorus. Nowhere, nowhere, beautiful isle of nowhere. One day I'll be across that sea on the beautiful isle of nowhere. Now, you furnish the tune and sing it.
Well, that was good. Now, I know that's just one of many, but that's all we're going to read today. I like that one especially myself because it incorporates the names of a lot of grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and they all love it. Maybe you could take a moment and just tell me how you met my mother, where it was at.
I met her at Emmanuel. I was the
Emmanuel,
president.
hold on just a minute now. Be a little more specific. Emmanuel what?
Emmanuel Baptist Church. It was on Memorial Drive at the corner of Berin. That was about 3 blocks, I guess, from Boulevard. I was the president of the intermediate BYPU. I was late that particular Sunday, and when I got in the class, they had already started, and the vice president had taken over the class. I was looking around, seeing who all was there, and I saw just in profile this girl sitting about halfway down to the front. And I have no earthly idea what came over me, but I turned to my best friend, Theodore Banks, whom I call Tito, and I said, Tito, I've got to go down and meet that girl. One of these days, I'm going to marry her. And that's the way it was. I always tell people it had to have been made in heaven, because the last thing I needed was another girl. I already had 6 sisters.
I agree. But it turned out to be a nice match. Can you tell us, I remember one very exciting story you told me that I almost rolled in the floor the first time you told me, and it was a story about your dad's car. Because we know cars were not real prolific in those days. Very few people had them, and somehow your dad ended up with one. Tell us a little bit about that car and where it went.
Daddy's car was a 1924 T-model Ford. I don't know when he bought it, but we lived at 450 Loomis Avenue at this particular time, and my oldest brother had used the car, I guess, to have a date because he was old enough for that. And he came home, and behind our house was a garage, but the garage was very old. And he drove into the garage, but it seems that he forgot to set the emergency brake on the car. And when he got out of the car rolled through the garage, went down this embankment to the house next door, and hit an oak tree. Sunday morning, I went with my dad and my oldest brother to go out and look at the car. Daddy looked at it, and he said, well, I'll tell you, let's just leave it right where it is. But I want you to understand this. As long as I have a son at home, I'll never have another car. And my dad never drove another vehicle, and he never had another vehicle, because as long for the rest of his life, he had a son living at home.
Well, as much as I hate to say it, that's our last question, and so we're going to come to a close.
Well, this has been a big pleasure for me, and